I've never been the biggest fan of Pokemon. I've tried to play through many games, but I either hated it or stopped out of boredom. That changes today, however, as I finally found something that made Pokemon click with me. For a quick rundown, Pokerogue is a roguelite where you go through waves of random Pokemon battles, and when you wipe out you restart. The twist is that every Pokemon you catch will be added to your starting roster, so when you die, you can choose to use them at the start of your next run. What made me like this game was that you can choose however you want to play it, and every way is valid. You can enable retries if you wipe out, which could be for a variety of reasons. You can set the game speed from 1x to 5x, which is huge for a franchise where even the fans seem to use fast forward and emulators all the time. If you want to try messing with the RNG or get unlucky, well, the game officially endorses safe scumming. Go ahead. And if you don't want to use those things, then just don't. This game can be fun for both new Pokemon players and super fans of the series for this fact alone. Pokerogue has also given me an appreciation for so-called wiki games, or games that don't tell you what to do in-game, whatever you call that. I've never really loved games that basically require looking up the answers or asking a friend, older games especially. However, I realize now it was a matter of perspective that kept me away from these types of games. If I expect games to give me everything inside of it, of course I'll get annoyed when it doesn't. When I went into Pokerogue though, I wasn't expecting them to give me all the solutions. I knew this was a fan game and it was focused on battles, so I was much more open to having to do some work outside of the game to get good at them. There's something unique to having to search for information outside of the boundaries of the game world. Asking my friends who know way more about Pokemon than me, looking through wiki pages for Pokemon and watching YouTube videos on how to play better was all fulfilling, as I still felt like I was playing the game even though I actually wasn't. Now there is a lot more I could talk about regarding the use of wikis to play a game, most notably how many games do it badly. But in this case, that's what keeps it super accessible for anyone to play. There are treasure troves of Pokemon information online. If you take your time to learn what's optimal, you can do well. That's not to say Pokerogue is only good because Pokemon is big though. Every Pokemon has their type displayed next to their name. Considering that's the crux of the battle system, it's very convenient, so I don't need to look them up every single time. Having a type chart on hand is also a good idea because good luck memorizing this. I also see why this game can be addicting. If you manage to really get into this game, you can be here for hundreds of hours. You can collect all the starters. You can try collecting all the shinies of the starters. You could try to beat classic mode with one of each starter Pokemon. You could see how long you can last in endless mode. You can play the daily run every day, and there's even some achievements. It's a little insane for a browser game, honestly. And to tie this addiction together, there's a gacha mechanic. Now I don't usually like gacha stuff, but the key difference here is that it's free, and the odds for everything are decently fair, so you can get everything eventually, even shinies. This is still basically just gambling, so don't get too into it, though Pokemon and gacha have been destined to collide one day. The game is also quite pretty for the style it's going for. While many sprites were taken from previous Pokemon games, once you get past Gen 5, they all had to be built from scratch. There's also all the shiny and rare variants. Not to mention there's also a bunch of custom Pokemon animations you can toggle in settings. All the UI is based on Gen 5, which I've always quite liked, though you can toggle the legacy UI, which is closer to Gen 3 if you want. Yeah, that's all I wanted to say about this part. Good job to people who made art. Now before I could talk about the battling itself, it would be good to go over why the Pokemon battle system didn't appeal to me initially. I should preface this by saying it was partially my fault. The only Pokemon game I chose to actually sit through and complete was Pokemon Fire Red. I thought it's a Gen 1 remake, so it should be Gen 1 but good, and it's the first Pokemon gen, so it should be a great starting point. It's not. There's not much incentive to play well in FR. If you really wanted to, you can play the entire game with your starter, and you'd be fine if you were a high enough level. Abilities and buffing/debuffing moves seemed practically useless to me because they don't do anything if you manage to kill the opponent first. As such, Pokemon came across to me as this huge game of rock paper scissors, where you aim for the super effective and one-shot the opponent and move on. Not to mention how slow everything was and the amount of grinding required due to the lack of EXP share. Pokemon is still quite a simple battle system, but that doesn't mean it's completely terrible. Most buffing and debuff moves are still useless, but they shouldn't be completely discounted anymore. During normal encounters, buffs and debuffs will persist for a few additional battles, so if you get weakened from one battle you could potentially get owned in the next. Alternatively, buff your attack to max and cream everything in your way. Unfortunately, buffs and debuffs do get reset before a trainer battle, but I guess they had to balance it a little. Now I won't sugarcoat it, you still do a lot of one-shotting in this game through super effective moves, and it's not the most interesting thing. But that's where the post-round items take center stage. After every round you get random items to choose from, with the amount of items available increasing as you get further in. Figuring out the best item to choose here to improve your team is what keeps things interesting when things get a little too easy. There's TMs, Pokeballs, but also Mega Evolutions and even DNA splices to just combine two Pokemon. That's not even a normal Pokemon. There's also now a party EXP share, and you get money after every trainer to use here for healing or re-rolling if you get bad items. Abilities in this game are also a lot more useful, or maybe they always were and I just never noticed. I wouldn't be surprised. Stuff like pickup is downright broken. Another thing is the AI of the enemy NPCs. They actually react to the Pokemon you send out and you have to work around it. Your rival, which were custom designed for this game and look great, actually get boss Pokemon. It's not fair at all, but it does make the fight more interesting. Figuring out the Pokemon you want to bring to the end of the run is also a very interesting process. Your run will probably start by collecting whatever you see in order to survive, but after a while your catches become more tactical. By using a combination of the biome page on the Pokerogue wiki, asking my friends for advice, and the Pokemon wiki, I collected and strengthened my team. If you get the map item, which I always seem to but I don't think that's normal, you can have even more accurate planning as you can choose where you want to go after every 10 waves. This strategizing you make throughout is the most fun part of the game, apart from the final battles. The last 20 waves out of 200 are intense and put your team build to the test, and it's super satisfying if you make your way through. On the flip side, it's really painful if you lose and don't have retries on, because now you have 180 waves to go through again. How fun! This is the part where I start giving my criticisms of this game. The issue is that Pokerogue is evolving really quickly, so if I were to list all my minor complaints, I'd be wasting everyone's time, as many of them could already be fixed by the time you watch this. In fact, all this footage you're seeing is already super outdated, so just know that there needs to be some bug fixes, some quality of life, and it needs to finish implementing some things, but they're constantly working on that stuff already. What I want to talk about are a few bigger problems that I don't think are as likely to be changed or would take more work. There are quite a few modes on Pokerogue. However, from a freshly made account, you only get the Classic and Daily modes. Once you beat Classic, you get Endless mode, and apparently there's some DNA Splicer mode that you unlock once you use a DNA Splicer in a run and beat it. But I never did. That's kind of the problem. For a browser game that you play for a little bit when you're bored, I think every mode should be unlocked from the start. Beating Classic mode already has other incentives like tickets for the gacha machine. Opening up every mode would simply allow more people to try the game without getting bored. Endless mode doesn't seem very fun from what I've seen, but I'm brushing over it as apparently there's an overhauled plan, so moving on. Daily mode, however, is quite interesting. I'm pretty sure at least, because I'm bad at this game and haven't beaten it yet. You get a set of 3 Pokemon at level 20 and go through 50 waves, and it changes every day. Once you beat it, you get a score based on your performance and a spot on a leaderboard. The main thing I'd change is to make it more random. Why not start with 5 Pokemon or have 50 waves, and so on. Of course, this would make setting up a new daily take longer for the devs, I'd imagine, but it would add even more replayability than we already have here. Finally, we have Classic. Classic is good your first time through, probably your second too. After that, The main problem is its length. For someone like me, a single run of Classic can take a good 4 hours, and that's assuming I actually win. There's simply too many waves for me, and I think the game itself agrees with me, to be honest. After your Pokemon reach level 100, which will be around halfway, they won't be learning any more moves naturally, and most will stop way before that. This causes a significant decrease in party strategy, and a large increase of mindless spamming until you get to the next gym or rival battle. You could still catch Pokemon and change your party, of course, but I doubt most will be doing any drastic party changes by now. If Classic was long but had enough content to fill it, then maybe I wouldn't mind so much, but it doesn't. Maybe decreasing the amount of waves to 100 or 150 and shrinking the gaps between gym leaders. If the length of Classic mode wants to be kept, then adding more important battles could help. Pokemon mainline games have always had these villains. I'm gonna stop myself right there because villain teams were added in an update. Can you tell how long it's taken me to release this video yet? Those are just 2 ideas, but there's honestly a lot of things you could do. As it is now, I want to start a run of Pokerogue, but then I quickly remember all the parts I don't want to do and how I can't finish it in one sitting and stop. Starting a run has some friction in general. Choosing your starters helps a bunch, but I still find myself getting stuck in the first 20 to 30 waves and needing to restart a few times before I can get out and actually play the majority of the game. This is partly a skill issue, but I've seen some of my friends do the exact same thing, and unfortunately they didn't care as much to push through it. I think it's honestly just the amount of normal types. They only have one weakness and you likely won't have a fighting type on hand, making you lose way more HP than you will later on once you have type diversity. I don't entirely hate this difficulty curve though. Catching Pokemon while not having, well, anything, is a good burst of fun. It just needs a bit of smoothing really. Now, earlier I said the Pokemon battle system wasn't all that bad, and that's true, but the limitations of the system also become very apparent because of how hard this game pushes it. The final boss is a Dragon Poison type. Pretty scary sounding, until you realize a Steel Fairy type can nullify both of those. As every Pokemon needs a type, stuff that probably should be intense can be destroyed without a second thought. They tried to prevent this through the boss Pokemon's shield system. If you do enough damage to break a shield but not enough to break the next shield, the HP bar stops at that shield. This allows the boss to hopefully be able to attack a few times and put up a fight, but it depends on your team. In games like this, there will always be an optimal strategy that people strive for, but I think the issue is that it's just a little too easy. Another popular strategy for beating the final boss is using Leech Seed or Salt Cure. While the latter is only available on one Pokemon, Leech Seed is super common. The best way for fixing the type issue might just be to give Eternatus different variants with different types, or even giving him a special type. As for the latter issue, just nerf Leech Seed, I don't know. I think you get the idea here. Pokerogue has a really neat concept and I enjoyed my time with it as a great way to finally get more acquainted with Pokemon and to give the series a proper chance. As a roguelite though, the foundations are all there, but they just need some cleaning up before I can truly get addicted to it. Though it is hard to complain, considering that it's a free Pokemon game literally in your browser and it's open source. For a new mode I like to see, I think a mode where every battle is a double team would be very interesting. I do now see the value in one-on-one Pokemon battles, but 2v2s opens the door wide open. Apart from that, I guess I'll give more Pokemon games a shot in the future. I'll also try out some wiki games maybe. Consider subscribing and I'll make videos kinda like this one about other games. Maybe.